Okay, hello everybody. I am here with Kal McIver. Real name, full name, first name?
Full name, Colleen.
Colleen, right. Okay, I keep getting that, or
It's
skipping that. But
why I go by Kal.
I like Kal too. I like the one syllable names.
Yes.
They're easy.
It's a little easier.
And we're here at Canal Beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I've been here, so it's new for me, and I enjoy, one of the things I really enjoy about these segments is I get to see some new places.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for inviting me here.
Okay, no problem.
And you're going to do your 4 H's with us, so let's jump right into the first H, history, a little background of sort of what brought you to today and to this place.
Okay. Well, I was born here in Port Alberni. My mom was a single mom. She was an alcoholic, and she got saved when I was 3 years old. Shortly after she had married my dad, who eventually adopted me.
Yeah.
And those early years, while I may not have real deep memories of them, it did impact me in how different they were after they got saved.
Yeah.
And that was very, very real to me. So when I was 5, which seems very, very young, my mom asked me if I wanted to ask Jesus into my heart. And I said yes. I had seen the change. I had seen it very real in my life. And it was a very real commitment on my part, even though I was 5.
Yeah.
When I was 8, we had moved a lot. With my dad's work, we moved all over Alberta and BC. And so when I was 8, in a totally different place, different church, I was asked if I wanted to get baptized. Again, seems very young an age, but again, it was very real for me. It was
the faith of children, right?
I had a strong faith. I've always had a really strong faith.
Yeah.
I've never doubted. I've never had any struggles in that way. We moved again, ended up on the Sunshine Coast in Gibsons when I was 11. And that's where I met Andrew, my husband. And they're, again, young, but there was always something about him that just, I liked him right from the start. And that was actually a really hard move for me. I went through a lot of struggles. It's a hard age to move.
Yeah.
I moved a lot, but by that point it was just, I didn't want to move again. I remember saying to my mom, like, why did God bring us here? It was hard. I had no friends. It was hard. And, she said, and I was young, maybe 13, but she said, maybe it's for Andrew, who was a big part of our lives at that point. We were friends.
Yeah.
And he was going through losing his mom. She had cancer all through those years.
Wow.
He was our pastor's son, obviously pastor's wife as well. And I'm really glad that I was there to live through that with him, to know his mom, because he lost her at 16, and I got to know her before he lost her.
Right.
And I got to know him before that time too. So
Yeah.
that was a really good part of my history to be able to be there for him. Though we were young.
Yeah.
I went to Bible school. It was a different kind of program. It's called a discipleship program. It was just a 9-month program, but it was really good. I was 17 while I was there. Dated Andrew all through that time as he went off to school, and then we got married at 19 and 20.
Wow.
Again, considered young.
Yeah. These days especially.
But it was the right thing. We sometimes turn to each other and just say, you know what, we don't regret it one bit.
Yeah,
it was
good.
exactly the right move for us. We've never thought back and thought, wow, we were just too young. It was right. We moved, trying to get work, follow the work. We moved to Calgary, spent our first 3 years of marriage in Calgary because that's where the work was at the time. And settled. I think that was a really important stage because that really, we were able to develop our own faith on our own without relying on our parents' faith, right?
Yeah.
Taking those steps to go to church on our own with nobody to say, hey, are you going to church today? It was the two of us making that decision, and really important steps.
Sure.
We went through those times I was working nights where I would often work a Saturday night until 4:30 in the morning, and we went through a time of not going to church or trying to do Sunday church Sunday evening church,
Right.
Trying to make it all work. But it came to the point where it was like, no, it was really, really important for us to go, even on 3 hours of sleep,
Yeah.
and go to church Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So, really important. And then we moved back to the Sunshine Coast. Andrew was going to go to school for surveying at that point, and sort of came to the point in our marriage. We'd been married for about 4 or 5 years at that point, and I was like, I think it's time to start a family. And God was just blessed us in that area. And yes, we thankfully did not have any real problems conceiving after all that. And so we had 6 kids. I actually had a total of 9 pregnancies in 11 years.
Wow.
And we have 6 kids.
Yeah.
Then, I was actually pregnant with our last when we moved here.
Yeah.
And just God called us to move here. We'd been praying about where to go, where possibly God would want us to plant a church. And we'd been praying about it for a while, and one day Andrew said, I kind of feel Port Alberni. And I had grown up here, obviously. I'd spent time here, and I was very surprised. And I was like, really? Okay. And God just started pulling us over. My mom came first to take care of my grandma, and then there was a time there where we thought it was all going to fall apart. We had moved half our stuff over here, but our house wasn't selling.
Yeah.
I had just gotten pregnant. Andrew had just gotten laid off. He had been working over here, and then he had to come back to the coast, and it was like, okay, God, just tell us where to land. Like if we need to be back on the coast, and we need to get all our stuff and bring it back here.
Yeah.
We just need to know. But I think we had to come to a place of really letting go, because we were like holding on a little too tight to the dream. And he sold our house.
Yeah.
And we moved. And so that was 7.5 years ago.
Boy.
And
here you are.
Here we are. Yeah. And
Good.
I love it here.
Good. All right. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And we're going to switch locations here, and we'll go into Heroes.
Okay.
All right. Good. Thank you. Okay, Kal. So Heroes. Who are the influencers, the people who you've looked up to in the course of life?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, my mom. Like I say, seeing her change her life so dramatically from my young age. Sorry. She's always had a really strong faith to me, and been a really good example of letting God work in her life. She's always had a very strong prayer life. She's just been an example to me, and and I mean, we live together, so we're close.
Yeah,
and
with parents, that's you obviously must be close, because that doesn't always happen.
No, but it works for us. We're good friends, and she's been a good mom, and like I say, a good example to me.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I'm noticing in your whole family is that family members are the heroes, and that's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, my next hero would be Andrew. Again, I've been with him even as friends for more than, 3/4 of my life, I guess.
Yeah.
And we've been through a lot, and I've seen God at work in him in ways that are just, it can only be God. I can see God working in him all the time, and how far he's come over the years, and that he's, with his depression and struggles, that he keeps clinging to God through that.
Yeah.
And that's just really something that I admire, and I love to be his support.
Probably even all the more so, in challenging times. Yeah. Maybe God has allowed that just so that it would build his trust in him.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and my other hero is a pastor's wife friend of mine in Courtney. Her name is Mejan, and I just, I've been thinking and praying about who my heroes are and who's been a good influence on me, and I think of her frequently as someone who is just a couple steps ahead of me on the road, on the path, who I see God at work in her life. She's so full of grace. She's very honest about her journey and her failings, and she knows she's not perfect, but I see God just bringing her along. And I love her example, and I really look up to her.
Wow, good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, so we're going to move again, and we're going to go to, let's see, what's our third H? Heartaches.
Heartaches.
Yeah,
Right.
the challenging one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Kal, here we are with the heartaches, the hard stuff. So whatever you're comfortable sharing with us.
I haven't had a lot of heartaches in my life.
Good to hear.
I've been very blessed.
Yeah.
I really have. I haven't had a lot of loss. The early loss was Andrew's mom, being fairly close. But generally haven't lost a lot of family. Did lose my dad in a way, though. That was hard when he left my mom. Our eldest was just before she turned 2. And that was hard. More that my heart's broken for him, that he's walked away from God and he's walked away from his family.
Yeah.
And we saw him briefly. He's never seen the last 3 kids.
Oh, really?
He's only ever seen the first 3.
Yeah.
And I did see him about 4 years ago. Just totally randomly called my aunt and said we were going to be in Vancouver, and that's his sister. And she said, "Oh, well, your dad's visiting right now, and he lives in Thailand right now." And so she just arranged it that we would see each other. He was very awkward, very unsure, because I believe every time he's away from us, which is most for the past many years, he listens to Satan telling him that we don't want anything to do with him, that we don't care, that we don't love him. And it's just heartbreaking for me.
It is.
I think he's missing out on so much that we're here. But so that's hard. And then the other heartbreaks that I mentioned, I had 9 pregnancies and I have 6 kids. So I have lost 3. The first 2 were fairly early on in the pregnancy, and hard to go through, but not quite as heartbreaking. But the last one that we lost, that was a real the biggest trial that I've ever gone through. I was about 16 weeks along, at which point you feel we're safe. We're past all the hurdles. My mom had just packed up and moved over here to Port to take care of my grandma, and literally the next day I lost amniotic fluid, and doctor told me I had to be on bed rest immediately. I had 5 little ones, and my youngest at the time, Tavin, he was 14 months old, and and he learned to walk that week because he couldn't be held anymore, and that always chokes me up a little bit. I was on bed rest for 6 weeks, and that was a tough time, to have to sit while other people took care of my kids, and really just be with the Lord. And I had never ever, I've always had a really strong faith, but I'd never understood how people got comfort and felt Jesus was there with them, and a close friend. I always sort of thought that was kind of words that you just say until I experienced it, because there was no one else. I was very, very lonely, being on bed rest for 6 weeks. Just, we were so blessed with people from the church who would come and help take care of the kids, and enabled Andrew to stay home. He was home a couple extra days a week and stuff, but it was mostly just me and the Lord. And I spent a lot of time in prayer and a lot of time reading the Word, and through all that, praying. I believed very strongly that God could heal me. I didn't know if He would. And I wanted to trust that whatever He chose was going to be the right choice. There was a point in there where we were at that horrible meeting in at BC Women's, where the doctors who they just want to get you out of there. They want the easy choices, and they're telling us, like, why aren't you aborting?
Yeah.
And they're telling us all of the scary possibilities of basically his lungs would not be developed at this point, and that if we had him, we would have to do a C-section and cut in through the top, which meant no more children.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of hard things there.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you know, we were praying. We actually had our pastor and his wife came over and prayed over us. And I really believe at that point God let him go home.
Yeah.
And it was a couple days later at my appointment that we found out the heart had stopped, and it was hard, but it was a relief too.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Because of, you know, the future we were looking for, and I
Yeah.
think God knew, you know, we had been praying about that.
Yeah.
Like, it was a hard future we were looking at, and God let him go, and let him come home. And,
Come home, yeah.
and yeah, so that's that was a big thing, and it, you know, years of repercussion from that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was a long period of time for me not to be spending a lot of time with the kids.
Yeah.
And for Andrew, who he was so he couldn't deal with what was going on at the time, because he had to be the full-time parent.
Yeah.
And so it was, once I was on my feet, it was then supporting him as he had to deal with the emotions
Yeah.
and the loss.
Yes.
And so yeah, that's been our hardest thing. But at the same time as the sadness of going through it, I can't regret going through it, because I was brought so much closer to God through it. And
Silver linings, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Good. Well, thank you for sharing that. All right. All right, the last one. This is a fun one. This is the
Okay.
one I like the best anyways. It's your hopes.
My
What are the hopes you're holding on to, and how do they keep you going?
I think the biggest one is my kids. We've been really blessed to be able to homeschool and spend a lot of time with the kids and teaching them and training them up in the way they should go. And my hope is that they don't depart from it.
Yeah.
You know, I really do hope that they have their own faith to stand on, as I did, you know,
Yeah.
take those wobbly steps
Yeah.
on their own as they get older. And
Fall down once or twice,
yeah,
get back up.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's my biggest hope, just to see them flourish.
Yeah.
I really do.
You know, being a little bit further down the road on that, we have 5 kids, so we're not quite where you guys are, but pretty close. And your kids become your great friends, and that's the cool part too. You stop sort of parenting and you just start to become friends and mentors to them instead of parents as
Yeah.
much. So that's part's really fun
And
too.
having that kind of relationship with my mom, I think, and
Yeah.
obviously the kids live with her, she lives with us. They get to see us have that relationship, so I hope we have a good model for just continuing that.
I'm sure of it. There's something very good about multi-generational living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I hope that, I don't know, Andrew and I can just keep serving together. It's an exciting thing to be able to serve with your husband in ministries.
Yeah.
Most of our serving throughout our married life has always been together, and in cooking and in singing and playing music and things like that. And
Yeah.
I just really love that we can serve together. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I think that'll continue.
Yeah, hope so.
Good. All right. Well, it's been awesome to do this with you.
Well, thank you.
And I'm getting through the whole family now.
Yes.
All the adults.
All the adults are done now, yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.